Hey, it's Romy. Thank you so much for coming to check out my channel. This is the April 2020 reading for the sign of Sagittarius. So if you are a Sagittarius sun, rising or moon, it is a general reading, but it might resonate for you. If you're enjoying it and you'd like to support my work and the channel, you can go ahead and find the link for the extended version in the description box below. And you can also hop over to my website, romywyser.com, and you'll be able to connect with me for personal readings or link into my membership group over on Patreon. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. So Sagittarius, let's see what this April month has in store for you, Aries season. Okay, Sagittarius, it's April, Aries season, which is 5th house for you. So we have a focus around creativity, around children, around romance. All three of these aspects of your life heavily impacted, of course, by the circumstances that we all find ourselves in. So how you approach this, what your perspective is going to be, is going to influence the way that you are able to move through this month. We begin with the card of the moon, and I think here we have the opportunity to look at both sides of it, don't we? So we can either tap into that deep struggle, that sense of fear, feeling like we're losing ourselves down the rabbit hole, buying into that sense of confusion and uncertainty, or we can use that beautiful lunar illumination to go deeper into our own subconscious, to work with our own intuitive self, to see what is coming up in our own conscious awareness in terms of our understanding about what is happening energetically and collectively, to tap into the guidance that we are receiving through the signposts that our guides, that source energy is putting upon our pathway all the way through this month of April. On the 3rd, we have Venus moving into the sign of Gemini, which is, of course, your 7th house of relationships. For some of you, there may be some uncertainty around particular relationships, either personal or professional, as we move through this month of April, Sagittarius. And of course, you know, any sense of restriction or sanctions that are being put upon you right now may put you into a slightly fear-based state around what the outcome is set to be, connected into that specific part of your life. But remember, Venus in Gemini wants to keep things light. It has ideas, it wants to connect, it wants to communicate. And you have the opportunity again to take a different vantage point, so to trust your intuition. And remember, Saturn's now moved into Aquarius. We also have Mars in Aquarius, which is your 3rd house of communication. And it's about those day-to-day ideas, agendas and schedules that we're putting in place. And I think it's the focus upon that that's going to help you to move forward and perhaps out of any deeper, darker energy. Of course, sometimes, you know, the activation of that fear is something that we do need to sit with. We need to understand how it relates to, you know, what we're going through on an individual level, because that's all about our spiritual growth and our evolution. But the card of the Chariot coming in, I really like, because it is giving you the wherewithal to gain control of yourself, of your mindset, and be able to move forward. Now, the moon may well indicate a Piscean energy, Chariot may well indicate a Cancerian energy. So there's a lot of water elementals coming in as we open up your reading, and perhaps, you know, that is a real indicator of what's happening on an emotional level for you as we start this month. But remember that 3rd house is helping to change the way that you think. Saturn is going to be in Aquarius for the next couple of years in your sign. So some of the themes that you're being invited to consider as we move through this month is, you know, what needs to transform in that area of your life. So on the 4th, we have a conjunction between Pluto and Jupiter. Jupiter being the planet of expansion, Pluto that lord of the underworld. So, you know, there is this kind of peeling back the surface, if you like, and seeing what's underneath. And for some, you know, that might be revisiting or having to explore, you know, parts of our psyche, parts of ourself, or tapping into energy in the collective that feels kind of icky. However, you are being encouraged to use that from this very Jupiterian perspective. Remember, it's your ruling planet, so you can take the higher wisdom from this. You can understand what it's trying to teach us. and it can help you to reprioritize your life, reprioritize your thought forms, your way of thinking. So even though, you know, the waters may feel quite choppy around you, you are actually managing to maintain your balance through this month of April. And I think that's an important message that you need to hear. You know, that Pluto-Jupiter conjunction is the first of 3 happening this month, the second one in June and then again in November. Activation of that 444 gateway, very important in terms of helping us to ascend to new energy and to really look at our own vibration, and from an integrity perspective really own what we're bringing forth in terms of the way that we think. You know, are we adding to that fear-based undercurrent, or are we seeking to rise above and beyond it, taking the learning and what it's trying to illuminate and show us? Two of Pentacles as well is inviting you, I think, to try to find a way to keep things a little bit lighter in your world through this month of April. And again, that Venus and Gemini placement should help you to find ways in which to do that, Sagittarius. And again, an Aries season with the 5th house, that illumination of your creative talents and skills. You know, where do you want to direct that? You know, is it into a new initiative, a new idea, picking up an old hobby or a practice that perhaps you haven't had the time to look at before? Certainly it shows you're going to be juggling with a number of different things right now, but I think that where you're going to find solace, where you're going to find your grounding, is in doing the work. So doing the work is, for me, about that sense of focus towards not only the inner work, but something external that's going to help to distract you. Okay, so if you find yourself in a situation where your normal place of work, or normally kind of what your routine consists of, is not currently available to you, I see the opportunity for you to redirect into something else and really losing yourself in that, something that you want to craft, that you want to hone, you know, giving you the opportunity to master something. And I think that in that there's a beautiful opportunity to really have a sense of pride and accomplishment about something that you're going to do through this month of April. You know, we have this beautiful full moon in Libra coming in on the 7th, wanting to bring balance, wanting to bring harmony back in. And I think for you, where you're going to find your balance in April, Sagittarius, is by allowing yourself to get lost in some kind of practice. You know, that practice might be physical in terms of a new exercise regime or yoga. It could be in terms of starting a new project or ideas for a new business or learning to cook, whatever it is, when you find yourself in this social distancing situation. And for many, of course, that, you know, may well still be working, and even more so than usual. Again, you know, just making sure that you're finding the opportunity to ground and clear your energy as much as possible is going to be so important. But there's almost a distraction that comes up through the work. Page of Cups I love because it is this nod to the 5th house very strongly for me. You know, how are we linking into our creative gifts right now? I think for many of you, your own intuitive understanding is awakening to a profound level as we look at the wisdom that's being unlocked with that moon energy and the Page of Cups. Of course, what are we doing and how are we connecting with our children and with the young people in our life as well? So important that we can take a nod from them and their ability to just be present, to adjust and to adapt to circumstances so quickly. You know, they're not worrying about 3 weeks time or 6 months time or a year from now. They're just firmly focused on what is happening around them today. How do I have fun today? How do I make the best of today? And I think that if you can employ that kind of outlook and that sort of perspective, it is really going to help you to awaken and unlock something that's going to bring some peace and some soul soothing in for you in that regard. I think from a relationship perspective, even though there may be some uncertainty or doubt with regards to a particular situation you might find yourself in, I do have heartfelt messages coming forward to you, particularly around a water sign. So this might be resonant for some of you with regards to relationships. There is choices to make as well through this month, Sagittarius. I think first and foremost it's the choice about where you want to direct your energy. Okay, your card coming through, the card of Temperance, which I love. So if we're talking about where do you direct your energy, this is an incredibly healing card of adjustment, of moderation, of balance, of giving yourself time to just process and to think things through. And I think really beautifully paired with that Eight of Pentacles is saying, do you know what, you can find that comfort, you can prosper in a very peaceful environment if you choose to decide where you can best serve at this moment in time, you know. But the blessing coming in, that beautiful rainbow as well, a really important symbol I think for many right now about the hope and the renewal. And of course, having to tap into an element of patience right now, you know, understanding that there is an aspect of surrender that we're all having to experience through this month of April, which is unlike anything we've ever had to go through before. But, you know, this is a virtue for you. This is something that you are, I feel, going to discover about yourself. That is going to give you such an enormous sense of inner strength and resolve moving forward. I think in this container, in this sacred space you find yourself in through the month of April, there's very, very powerful life decisions that you're coming to. And on the other side of this, I think that you are going to find yourself making those decisions with such a sense of flow and ease, in a way that perhaps you would never have been able to do so previously. So the 11th sees Mercury moving into the sign of Aries, again giving us the opportunity to think on our feet. Perhaps at times us wanting to be impulsive, you know, that Chariot and Two of Pentacles is just kind of a need to get going. And you know, when we've got that 3rd house and 5th house, all that creative, chatty, communicative energy, you know, it is going to be challenging at times for you to sort of feel like, where can I direct this? What can I do with all of this energy that's bubbling up in me right now? And then you have much more peaceful, soothing, calm energy that's coming through, helping you to find a way to process it and direct it so that it isn't, you know, it isn't lost. You know, you can still bring something meaningful forward from this. And you know, when we move into Taurus season on the 19th, Sun in Taurus, and then a beautiful new moon on the 22nd as we come into 6th house for you, all about being of service. So it's almost just like perhaps you need some time to kind of consider and think through where you want to be and where you need to be to prioritize it in April. I think you're going to get some beautiful illumination about what that should be. And then as we come into Taurus season, you're charged and ready and poised to kind of take some sort of action. You know, you're cutting through a lot of those cords of doubt or uncertainty. And I really like the Knight of Swords in your reading. You know, this air energy I think is what you need to just come up with those innovative solutions. You know, you have the ability, Sagittarius, to see down the line, to look at the broader, bigger picture, to bring that sense of optimism to bear. And I think you will be the one that comes charging in with news, with an idea, with a solution, you know, whether that be through something that you created of your own or like coming together in some capacity. But it's through this work, this kind of time that you give yourself to almost allow the divine downloads to take place. And once you do that, you're then able to bring that forward into the collective. For some of you, even if there is some doubt and uncertainty around specific work or business aspects right now, again, the Knight of Swords is a very strong returning energy. You are going to return to this, and when you do, you will have a different kind of perspective, a different vantage point, new experience that you can bring to bear that I think is actually going to be wholly positive. Balance coming back in with that Six of Pentacles. I think you are in the mood and you have a deep desire to want to be charitable in some way or another, and perhaps it is just this month of April that you try to figure out what that looks like for you and where you can best serve, where you can best be. But I also see generosity of spirit coming towards you. So if you are someone right now who is really struggling and finding yourself very isolated or through conditions out with your control, needing that outside help and support fiscally, you know, emotionally, just in terms of friendship and connection. I absolutely see that coming through for you, helping to bring in more balance, helping to help you feel a little bit more in control and a little bit more part of something, which is going to be incredibly beneficial to what you take from this whole experience. Okay, what I see overall is that you have the opportunity to really learn something so valuable about yourself in this whole unfolding, particularly through this month of April. And you can see the way that she's so curious as she looks towards the fish here. This fish just holding all of that wisdom and knowledge, and you know, it's leaping towards her, and you know, she's maybe a little bit uncertain and a little bit unsure, but still very curious, you know, wanting to know, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for the way that I live my life, the way that I think? Six of Cups inevitably has us looking back, you know, considering the times when we did feel a little bit more free, or things were in much more of a sense of flow. You know, but for many, and let's not disregard this, for many this whole experience is going to give you that time for sacred rest. In that moment, you can sink more deeply back into who you truly are. You can reconnect with parts of yourself that perhaps have been lost, you know, reconnecting to your inner child, to, you know, people around you, to people from the past. And there is a beautiful soul-soothing quality that comes through with that. Not only that, we have all these lotus flowers coming up through the mud, showing you that you will prevail through these difficult times. And then we focus on this sunflower, the beautiful burst of sunshine that links into the summer months, and how much more radiant that you feel, the amount of growth that you still see coming in. The sixes for me also talking about that sense of balance being needed, and how you approach that, what you decide to be the emotional tools, and the way that you approach each and every day is going to be so important. But I see you standing strong and having the opportunity to really take learning from this month in particular. Let's have a look at the oracle card, see what comes out for you, Sagittarius. Okay, we have the Green Man, rising energy, surge and fertility. Beautiful. This sense of growth and abundance that comes in through this oracle card, because of the focus, because of the illumination of the third eye, so a connection into your higher self, to a divine source of wisdom. So back to what we said at the start of the reading, take this moon energy and the positive from it. Don't get tricked into that delusional quality that it can activate. Once we do that, and we have the opportunity to really follow those signs, then you are set to receive that beautiful burst of kind of rising Kundalini energy up through your solar plexus, to get that surge, that kind of feeling of, okay, I can channel this. I can channel this in really powerful, meaningful ways for myself and others. The fertility, and nod to those new ideas. Remember, fifth house is about that creative vision. And you know, there's the part of that fifth house energy that is all about romance. So what do I need to fall back in love with through this month of April, now that I maybe have the time or a completely different perspective about my life and about humanity? And it's in that understanding and conscious awareness that new seeds are being sowed. Remember, in Aries season, we're the beginning of a brand new astrological year. Don't let limited, temporary, external circumstances stop those dreams, those ambitions, those ideas, those intentions. Use it to make them even bolder and brighter, or to create a whole series of new ones based on what you now know or what you now think. That Green Man, very supportive in the healing energy of like opening up your heart space to receive that energy from source, you know. So we'll take a look at your astrological card, see what comes up. Okay, Sun in Gemini, hone your negotiation and relationship skill, communications. All right, so we talked about the fact that Venus is moving into Gemini. We also talked about the fact that Gemini rules the third house, and Saturn in Aquarius is third house for you over this next couple of years. So there is this real focus on air energy and, you know, how you work with it, Sagittarius. It's your polar opposite sign, it's your mirror energy, so it has much to teach you about you know, aspects that perhaps you avoid, you neglect, but also to help strengthen and illuminate, you know, different qualities that you can bring to bear in both personal and professional situations. So I think this time is really helping you to step out of yourself, to see other people's perspective, to perhaps communicate in a different way, perhaps more of an authentic way for some, or more of a bolder, courageous way for others that have been dimming their light or not feeling it was quite time, or they're quite ready to share their perspective or their point of view over something. But also there's this lightness, you know, the Gemini energy is all about being curious, being open, you know, thinking outside of the lines. And again, this is where you know, if you marry this with the energy of the green man, you have that rising energy surge in fertility, and then you tap into that Gemini, you know, expansive, mercurial outlook. And this is where you get really radical, innovative ideas. And Saturn in Aquarius wants us to do that. It wants us to come up with a completely different way of doing things. That's where we're going to find the progress. That's where we'll make really lasting, meaningful, sustainable change. And you're right at the forefront of that this month, Sagittarius. So step up and be bold, and, you know, speak from that throat chakra. Make sure it's cleansed and cleared, and you share what it is that you have to say, you know, with your community, with your partner, with yourself, with you know, humanity. It matters. Okay, I hope this has given you some insight for your month of April. If you'd like to join me for the extended reading, Sagittarius, we're going to go ahead and pull a couple of cards on a specific question that you have, if it has not been answered in the main spread. So I'd like you to just think about that question for me right now. Just put a focus on it, and we'll pull a couple of cards for you. If you want to purchase the extended, you can find the link for that in the description box below, or over on my website, romywyser.com. Okay, we're also now just going to pull some clarifying cards to pull out some additional messages for the longer reading here. So this moon energy, what does it have to show us? Okay, Empress. Pull one more, and the King of Wands. Okay. Very resourceful, abundant energies coming in with both the King and the Empress. So again, don't be tricked into any sense of illusion of lack with that moon right now. Card of strength coming through with the Chariot. I love that for you, just giving you that tenacity and fortitude to move through this month. Six of Cups is coming up again. Okay, Page of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles. In doing the work, in learning, in applying yourself to something, that's where you're going to find your peace this month. Okay, Three of Cups coming in with the Page of Cups. Nine of Cups and Temperance. You have some really beautiful rising energies in this reading, Sagittarius. I want you to keep focused on that. Remember, there is an opportunity to look at this from two very different perspectives, notwithstanding, of course, what many people are experiencing, and perhaps even some of you right now. We can still come at this from a place of love and connection. High Priestess and the Star. Beautiful. That celestial divine download coming in very strongly. And the Hierophant. Wow. You're being gifted an illumination and awakening on a profound level this month. Be aware of what comes up in and around the 4th with that conjunction. You know, you'll be revisiting that a couple of times later this year. But it is going to help to expand your way of thinking profoundly. Okay, Nine of Wands. One more for card of Gemini, Wheel of Fortune. Lovely. Okay, Sagittarius, thank you so much. If you've enjoyed the reading, please do drop me a like and a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're joining me for the extended, I look forward to continuing this conversation. I'm sending you bright blessings and soul soothing for April. Stay safe. Take care.